did answer that government is engaging leaders of arts teachers through leaders of the Ministry of Education. And the Minister of Higher Education, Honorable John Muyingo, also added that leaders of arts teachers had decided to stop or pause their strike, and by yesterday, at least by the time we had a conversation in regards to arts teachers, the arts teachers had said no, we are still striking. But the minister, honorable minister, said that they had decided to pause their strike, and that they would be meeting, that is, leaders of arts teachers would be meeting their colleagues and would be giving him a report this particular Thursday. So we await what will come out of that report as he stated it. But still on the floor of Parliament, another issue that was raised was the issue of the Balalo in northern Uganda. And Government Chief Whip said that the issue is being handled by the Minister of State who is in charge of northern Uganda reconstruction, and an update will be given in the next sitting. Honorable Sarah Opendi also did take note of the issue of the express penalty ticketing system, as well as the company outsourced to collect money from this system, as well as the whole issue of road safety issues in Uganda that needed to be addressed. And the conclusion was that the Minister of Works, as well as the Attorney General, would be invited on the next sitting of Parliament to share their insights and reports, give a final report on the issue. It was an interesting sitting, I must say. It was rather quite interesting, but also the other interesting event that took place yesterday was President Museveni's letter. I did read it from Instagram, but most definitely if it was on Instagram, it must have been on X as well, where he shared his 2 cents on the issues of Iran and Israel, as well as the United States being involved in the Middle East affairs. One thing I must say, it's quite a lengthy letter, but one thing I must say is our president really knows his history. Deep, deep, deep history, more than you could ever think he knows. But that's it for now. Let me allow Robert Cherabo to have what to say as well. Good morning, Robert.
Oh, a lovely morning to you, Julie, and of course our viewer. Thank you very much for waking up with us. Now, I'm never shocked with absenteeism in our August House.
Yeah, why?
No, because at least I've seen the Right Honorable by then Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga, have that as an issue. Jacob Olanya have that as an issue. The current Speaker having that as an issue. Our members of Parliament, most of the times, a good number of them. You see, UBC, we have a house in session. And many times I watch. But you'll be shocked. And I wonder why they're even building this extension. Because of its lack of space. Many times our members of Parliament, and a good number of them, is absent. Right. And the speakers have talked about this issue of absenteeism.
So what's the point of them being elected in the first place? You
see, we are now in a voting, in a campaigning politics. We are moving towards 2026. The voters, many of them, don't vote for MPs because of their core purpose, which is legislation, budget allocation and all that. No. So a member of Parliament may not even step in the house if it wasn't that there are some sittings if you miss, but may be elected for 40 years.
Right.
Do you know why? The electorate, what they want from the member of Parliament, for them, what they view and want is very contrary to the functions of the member of Parliament. I'll tell you, a member of Parliament who is always in his constituency attending burials and donating here 50,000, here 10,000, here a casket, who will go and meet these evening lessons, chat, drink with them. A member of Parliament who will go to school, whatever, donate some money, build a health facility, however tiny it is, and calls it a hospital. You know, now the definition of a hospital is also something we don't understand. Right. Someone gets 2 rooms, 3 rooms, and says Mbazimbi de Dwariro.
And before you know it, they are sweeping votes at the end of the day.
That one is more powerful than one who will come on the floor of Parliament, debate issues, analyze them. So that's why many would rather be away from the House, but in their constituency, because that is where it matters, not in the August House.
Very interesting. Anyways, Good morning once again. On that note, let's have a look at what is on the local scene.
Well, we begin with the Prime Minister of Uganda, the Right Honorable Robina Nabanja, who advised students to dedicate and commit most of their time to education if they are to become successful in life. The Prime Minister was speaking to senior 4 students of St. Edward SS Bukumi Kakumiro, who paid a courtesy call to her office in Kampala. The Prime Minister is an old girl of St. Edward SS Bukumi. St. Edward Senior Secondary School Bukumi in Kakumiro district is one of the notable schools in Bunyoro sub-region. It has produced leaders including the current Prime Minister Robina Nabanja, former Vice President Professor Gilbert Balibase Kenya, and Finance Minister Matia Kasaija, among others. Founded in 1945 by the White Fathers, St. Edward SS Bukumi in Kakumiro district is proud to have produced the first female Prime Minister of Uganda, Robina Nabanja. The Prime Minister further urged students to always uphold the virtue of respect. She also cautioned them against HIV/AIDS. The students of St. Edward Bukumi expressed pride in being part of this moment in history, interacting with the first female Prime Minister of Uganda. Parliament has approved Kampala Capital City Authority's request to lease 3 plots of land, M69 and M70 in Lugogo, and M73, M731 on Old Kla Road. These plots were pending clearance from the Ministry of Finance and Valuation, which the Minister of State for Kampala, Kabuye Chofato Gabiye, presented to Parliament. Kampala Capital City Authority previously made a request to Parliament to approve the lease for some plots of land that include M880 Offspring Road and plot 406 Namirembe Road, M69 and M70 Lugogo, plus M731 Old Clare Road. The 2 plots, M880 Offspring Road and plot 406 Namirembe Road, were approved during a sitting that was chaired by the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among. During the sitting, chaired by the Deputy Speaker, Thomas Tayebwa, Parliament approved the remaining plots after Minister Chofato Gabia presented necessary clearance. Tayebwa clarified that Section 34 of the Public Finance Management Act does not require Parliament to consider policies of other institutions when approving such lease. However, Toro woman Member of Parliament Sarah Opendi asked for council resolution from KCCA, while the Leader of Opposition Joe Senyonyi presented a letter showing no such resolution existed. Despite opposition concerns, Tayeba ruled that the Parliament was not bound by institutional policy. The Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited, UEDCL, has discouraged political aspirants from using electricity infrastructure as spots for pinning campaigning posters. The head of the corporate and stakeholders affairs at UEDCL, Jenan Kiz, said that it is illegal to interfere with power infrastructure. He added that the company is working with security agencies to ensure the protection of power lines. As you may, through the Central Business District, it is nearly impossible to go any distance without encountering campaigning posters. These posters vary in size and are attached to various objects using nails, glue, or simply placed along the roadside. Trees, telecommunication poles, and electricity infrastructure are among the most frequently used spots for pinning posters. However, according to Janan Kiza, head of corporate and stakeholders affairs at UEDCL, using electricity infrastructure for campaigning posters is illegal. Unauthorized use of electricity infrastructure has reportedly caused damage in some areas, according to residents. These activities are being carried out by unknown individuals, but there are CCTV cameras directly monitoring the area where posters are commonly placed. Such posters can interfere with power supply and affect its liability. UEDCL, however, monitors its power lines in real time from the control center and its head office in Nakasero, allowing for quick detection of any disruption. UEDCL has advised its technical team to remove any poster found on power lines whenever there is need for service or maintenance. UEDCL plans to launch an extensive safety campaign to educate the public on proper handling and protection of electricity infrastructure to ensure sustainable and reliable power supply. Now, finally, from the local scene, the National Resistance Movement, NRM, has confirmed 10 unopposed members of Parliament and LC 5 chairpersons ahead of the upcoming party primaries. Among them is Speaker of Parliament Anita Among, Hamson Mobua, and Minister Jane Ruth Achen, among others. As the National Resistance Movement prepares for its party primary elections, the party has confirmed a number of unopposed members of Parliament and LC5 chairpersons. They say this is an indication of how strong the party is and how ready it is for the forthcoming general elections. Oyam District, a UPC stronghold, will be battleground for NRM's Jane Francis Asio, aims to upseat the current woman MP Honorable Arum Sandra Santa Ogwang. With the district known for agriculture, Asio promises to raise the living standards of her people through agriculture. She believes that being the best candidate will help the party mobilize resources for the local community. More aspirants continue to return their nomination forms as the party approaches the deadline. Well, that brings us to the end of our local stories this morning. Interesting. Some people are unopposed.
Indeed.
For the party primaries.
For the party primaries.
But remember, we are not party dispensation.
Right.
So they may tussle it out with someone from NUP, FDC, PPF, DP, whatever party that may present a candidate.
Right, indeed. Thank you, Robert, for that update on the local scene. Let's have a look at what is on the foreign scene. And this particular one, Robert, I believe will interest you. It interests me first and foremost as someone who loves dogs. But it interests you more as someone who not only loves dogs, but also is in the business of dogs. Imagine it is known that South Korea, or Koreans altogether, do enjoy dogs as food, whilst for us they are pets and animals that we love. But when we're at a point where South Korea has banned dog meat, so what happens to the dogs? When he isn't preaching the word of God, Reverend Ju Yong Bong is raising dogs for slaughter. Business is not going well though. In fact, it's on the brink of becoming illegal. Now, since summer, last summer that is, we've been trying to sell our dogs, but the traders just keep hesitating. Mr. Ju, who is 60 years old, told the BBC, not a single one has shown up. In 2024, the South Korean government implemented a nationwide ban on the sale of dog meat for consumption. And the landmark legislation was passed last January, which gives farmers like Mr. Ju until February 2027 to shutter their operations and sell off their remaining animals. But many say that isn't enough time to phase out an industry which has propped up lives for generations, and that authorities still haven't come up with adequate safeguards for farmers or estimated 500,000 dogs in captivity. Now, even those who support the ban, including experts and animal rights advocates, have flagged issues around its enforcement, including the difficulty of rehoming dogs that have been saved from the kill flow, and also face the increasingly likely threat of euthanasia. Now, midway through the grace period, dog farmers are finding themselves with hundreds of virtually unsellable animals, farms that can't be closed, and little means of putting food on the table. And quoted, "People are suffering," says Mr. Ju, who is also the president of the Korean Association of Edible Dogs, a group representing the industry. "We're drowning in debt, can't pay it off, and some can't even find new work. Such a hopeless situation." Wow, can't imagine eating a dog.
I see a South African boa husk there.
Yeah.
Dogs are more like human beings.
Yeah, they shouldn't be eaten. Wow. Anyways, let's move on to the USA and Matters Entertainment. Diddy legal team rested their case in his sex trafficking trial on Tuesday after making arguments for only about 20 minutes. Their short presentation, followed nearly 7 weeks of arguments and witness testimony brought by federal prosecutors. In New York, the prosecution finished making their case Tuesday afternoon. His defense attorneys argued that the government has failed to meet the burden in proving any of the charges against him, which he's vehemently denied, and the judge should drop the case against him. Mr. Combs also confirmed to the court that he would not take the stand in his own trial. It's my decision with my lawyers not to testify, he told the judge. Mr. Combs has pleaded not guilty to the charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He faces up to life in prison if convicted in the scheme. Now, speaking for the first time in court in weeks on Tuesday, Mr. Combs told Judge Aaron Subramanian that he was doing an excellent job. I want to tell you thank you, the rapper told the judge. Prosecutors have alleged Mr. Combs used his celebrity status and business empire to run a criminal enterprise to sex traffic women and conceal his crimes. During their arguments, the government called more than 30 witnesses to stand to the stand. Exercising some kind of wisdom in this matter, I think. But moving on, coming on to the continent, over to the continent, Mali and Russia have signed a series of agreements aimed at expanding mutual trade and strengthening economic ties. Among them is a pledge for greater cooperation on nuclear energy, according to details released by the Kremlin. The announcement of the deals came during a visit by Mali's junta leader, Colonel Assimi Goïta, to Moscow, which included 2 hours of talks with President Vladimir Putin, Russian state media reported. Goïta has boosted relations with Russia since seizing power in 2021, while reducing ties with former colonial power France. This reflects a broader regional trend, with neighboring Burkina Faso and Niger also pivoting towards Russia after the overthrow of civilian leaders. Speaking on Monday, Putin said that while trade ties with Mali were modest, there was an upward trend, and future areas of cooperation would be in geological exploration, energy, logistics, and the humanitarian field. Mali and Russia have previously discussed the construction of a Russian-designed nuclear power plant as a strategic energy project for Mali. This official visit will continue to further deepen our relationship in a spirit of mutual trust and respect for sovereignty, Colonel Goïta said. According to a statement by the Malian presidency, Goïta expressed gratitude for Russia's warm welcome and affirmed Mali's willingness to strengthen the cooperation, which he said covers many sectors. Well, that's it from the foreign scene. Robert, what do we have in the dailies today?
Oh, let's look at the New Vision this morning. A big headline there, the woman MP we want. Now, respondents were asked an open-ended question. Who do you think should be the area next district woman member of parliament? And the responses are there. We look at Iran-Israel war, Museveni offers solution. And students' loan scheme applications open. Now you can apply. Then family rules out foreplay in Kampala doctor's death. Well, it wasn't, of course, there's no death that is good. But sometimes, now, still in the New Vision, these the Totals magazine inside there. Another operative with charged with Kagezi murder, and that is one known also as Minani. And now let me go through the Daily Monitor this morning. Hold hands and pray, Museveni tells the world. And the Lizard comes very quickly here and says, in response to that, why doesn't he teach them gorilla tactics? Then ex-flying squad operative cries out for Kaihura help. This is Minani crying out. Now we have court allows trial of Ugandan women in Kenya over drugs. And first test papers of English, mathematics, science, and social studies in the Daily Monitor. Now, Julie, can you drive us to Kenya or Tanzania?
Indeed, let's fly to Tanzania. First to the Citizen, private sector set for role in electricity distribution. The government says it is in the final stages of opening the door to private investment in electricity transmission for the first time, marking a new milestone in Tanzania's efforts to deepen private sector participation in the country's energy sector. Still in the Citizen, Minister vows decisive action against defiant social media platforms, and digital campaigns gather pace ahead of elections. Government responds to key issues as budget sails through, and also why Tanzania's fertilizer hub dream is closer to reality. And in matters sports, football final showdown as Yanga Simba meet in league title decider. Moving on to Kenya, Daily Nation, the ones we lost is the headline, with 60 as the number, pictorial number used there, and full coverage on the different pages shared there. And really, that is the headline in today's Daily Nation. Even their names have been listed there, the top cover of the Daily Nation. Now, that brings us to the end of what we have in the dailies today. Let's take a short break, but before we even do that, I don't know, have you watched Lion King? And not any Lion King, even the old one.
The cartoons, those I have. I thought there was something new.
No. I mean the older Lion King, and then the one that the Lion King 2, I think, that was done by Beyonce before the recent one. Have you watched the recent?
No, I've not watched the recent one.
And the one done by Beyonce, the very first one before the recent one.
I watched the very first one. But of course, the way I watch movies, I'm on and off movies.
Anyway, I don't know if you'd relate, but for someone who loves movies and loves stories and is very critical when watching stories, Lion King is one of those movies I feel is given an injustice because it's telling an East African story. Why not use East African talent? I don't know. But anyways, let's enjoy the song Brown Skin Girl by Beyonce, Blue Ivy, and Wizkid, St. John and as well on the song Brown Skin Girl. I still beef the producers of Lion King. East Africa has talent, so use East African talent because the story is about East Africa. Anyway, enjoy the song. Let's catch up next on The Real.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
The Honorable Minister said that they had decided to pause their strike and that they would be meeting, that is, leaders of arts teachers would be meeting their colleagues and would be giving him a report this particular Thursday. So we await what will come out of that report as he stated it. But still on the floor of Parliament, another issue that was raised was the issue of the Balalo in northern Uganda. And Government Chief Whip said that the issue is being handled by the Minister of State who is in charge of Northern Uganda reconstruction, and an update will be given in the next sitting. Honorable Sarah Opendi also did take note of the issue of the express penalty ticketing system, as well as the company outsourced to collect money from this system, as well as the whole issue of road safety issues in Uganda that needed to be addressed. And the conclusion was that the Minister of Works, as well as the Attorney General, would be invited on the next sitting of Parliament to share their insights and reports, give a final report on the issue. It was an interesting sitting, I must say. It was rather quite interesting. But also the other interesting event that took place yesterday was President Museveni's letter. I did read it from Instagram, but most definitely if it was on Instagram, it must have been on X as well, where he shared his 2 cents on the issues of Iran and Israel, as well as the United States being involved in the Middle East affairs. One thing I must say, it's quite a lengthy letter, but one thing I must say is our president really knows his history. Deep, deep, deep history, more than you could ever think he knows. But that's it for now. Let me allow Robert Cherabo to have what to say as well. Good morning, Robert.
Oh, a lovely morning to you, Julie, and of course our viewer. Thank you very much for waking up with us. Now, I'm never shocked with absenteeism in our August House.
Yeah, why?
No, because at least I've seen the Right Honorable, by then, Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga, have that as an issue. Jacob Bolanya have that as an issue. The current Speaker having that as an issue. Our members of Parliament, most of the times, a good number of them. You see, UBC, we have a house in session. And many times I watch. But you'll be shocked. And I wonder why they're even building this extension. Because of its lack of space. Many times our members of Parliament, and a good number of them, is absent.
Right.
And the speakers have talked about this issue of absenteeism.
So what's the point of them being elected in the first place?
You see, we are now in a campaigning politics. We are moving towards 2026. The voters, many of them, don't vote for MPs because of their core purpose, which is legislation, budget allocation and all that. No. So a member of Parliament may not even step in the House if it wasn't that there are some sittings if you miss, but may be elected for 40 years.
Right.
Do you know why? The electorate, what they want from the member of Parliament, for them, what they view and want is very contrary to the functions of the member of Parliament. I'll tell you, a member of Parliament who is always in his constituency attending burials and donating here 50,000, here 10,000, here a casket, who will go and meet these evening lessons, chat, drink with them. A member of Parliament who will go to school, whatever, donate some money, build a health facility, however tiny it is, and calls it a hospital. You know, now the definition of a hospital is also something we don't understand.
Right.
Someone gets 2 rooms, 3 rooms, and says Mbazimbi de Dwariro.
And before you know it, they are sweeping votes at the end of the day.
That one is more powerful than one who will come on the floor of Parliament, debate issues, analyze them. So that's why many would rather be away from the House, but in their constituency, because that is where it matters, not in the August House.
Very interesting. Anyways, good morning once again. On that note, let's have a look at what is on the local scene.
Well, we begin with the Prime Minister of Uganda, the Right Honorable Robina Nabanja, who advised students to dedicate and commit most of their time to education if they are to become successful in life. The Prime Minister was speaking to senior 4 students of St. Edward SS Bukumi Kakumiro, who paid a courtesy call to her office in Kampala. The Prime Minister is an old girl of St. Edward SS Bukumi. St. Edward Senior Secondary School Bukumi in Kakumiro district is one of the notable schools in Bunyoro sub-region. It has produced leaders including the current Prime Minister Robina Nabanja, former Vice President Professor Gilbert Balibaseka Kenya, and Finance Minister Matia Kasaija, among others. Founded in 1945 by the White Fathers, St. Edward SS Bukumi in Kakumiro district is proud to have produced the first female prime.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group HGO brand has officially launched the Rider Selection Campaign. Registration is now open. Visit www.riders.hgo.com. Complete your registration now for a chance to win exciting prizes including motorcycles, exclusive HGO gift boxes, and official rider vests, all while promoting safe riding awareness. This is how to participate. Pay the registration fee, invite 3 friends friends to form a team of 4 and your registration fee will instantly be refunded. Begin your journey of honor today. Don't miss this opportunity. Join the challenge, promote road safety and become a pioneer rider. For details, visit the official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll free 0800-335-555 or visit our offices at Kingdom Kampala 3rd floor to register now and win prizes worth millions.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
A very good morning to you once again. If you've just joined us, thank you so much for joining us on Good Morning Uganda and watching UBC TV. If you've been with us, thank you for sticking around since the start. Good morning once again, and it's time for The Real, where we get to talk about anything as long as it concerns all of us as citizens of Uganda and this world, and that we must take action but also share our 2 cents in regards to that particular conversation. Now, authorities in Luwero and Nakasongola districts are quite worried over the fact that residents are misusing mosquito nets, which is leading to a rise in malaria cases in that area. Now, it's important to note that Uganda has a very high malaria burden with the highest incidence rate globally and about 478 cases per 1,000 population per year, out of 1,000 population per year. And outpatient visits are always up to 40% of visits in hospitals, as well as 25. In fact, as Dr. Diana Atwine was in Luwero for her, she stated that she took note of a 27% rate of admissions of malaria cases. But looking more into the statistics, 14% of deaths are attributed to malaria, and estimated annual deaths are 70,000 to 100,000 deaths annually in Uganda alone. Population risk is over 90% of the population is at risk of malaria, and this comes with many effects. But I'm not alone, of course, to discuss this particular one, all right? So be available and a part of the conversation. 0709602592. That's the WhatsApp number. You can engage and talk about this issue. But also Robert is with me to share his 2 cents on this particular issue. Robert, with that statistic I've shared, let's just start with, why do you think Ugandans are just so complacent?
Well, first,
government gives you a mosquito net and you use it to trap ants or to protect your produce from chicken, or use it for any other use aside from it being over your bed, hang over your bed to protect you at night.
Well, first and foremost, I always tell you 2 things. Enforcement without enough sensitization and giving without enough knowledge sometimes may not benefit Ugandans. That's why you've seen a number of government projects. Someone is given a pig to get out of poverty too, by the Presidential Initiative in Alleviation of Poverty, and the man eats them or sells them. I've seen people who prepared, the government gives them a cow to get, that is fighting poverty, and they just sell the cow now. Someone's given a mosquito net and they'll find alternative ways, white ants, things like that.
Yeah.
Now, first, malaria has been around for so many years in Uganda. It is the #1 killer of Ugandans. That is one thing we should know, because daily we lose between 14 to 16 Ugandans. Every day we lose those people due to malaria. Now, because malaria has been around for some time, there is a way some people don't believe it can kill. Some people. And someone will tell you, there is that belief. There isn't enough information. So there's that belief that malaria can't kill. Then second, I don't know how many Ugandans can testify and say they have never suffered of malaria. Even as sickle cell sicklers, I mean carriers, you find that still at one point you ever gotten malaria.
Right, yeah.
Because I think that is the group for us who rarely have issues with malaria. I don't know the scientific reason why, but any carrier will tell you they never, it is rare for them to get malaria. Now, but at least every Ugandan or in your family there's someone who has suffered from malaria and recovered. Much as it is the #1 killer of Ugandans. So it brings that element of complacency. That no, malaria, you recover. And remember, for certain diseases, if they attack someone over and over, I think the body develops immunity. So we are used. We know, musujja, it is just malaria. Yes, you'll be down, you take some medication, you recover. Forgetting that there are times you may never make it. Or forgetting that in rural areas, here in urban centers, it is easy to treat malaria, though sometimes it's expensive. Now, under 5, many of these children are dying. Pregnant mothers will tell you if they have not gone for antenatal to take those anti-malarial. What happens? You're having this death. Now, government for a project like this to work, 1, you must sensitize people. Another thing I learned with Africans and my brothers here in Uganda is sometimes you must also put enforcement to drive a purpose home.
Right.
Because government of Uganda, I was looking at statistics, every year we spend as government over $550 million on treating malaria. That's a lot of money. It could do so many things. Yet we are treating something which is preventable. We are treating something which can be avoidable, I want to assume. Because if you sleep under a treated mosquito net, believe you me, mosquitoes enjoy you more when you're sleeping because you're helpless, you've surrendered. Here where we are, you can sense it, clap, you know, that way we treat this. We are used to before and all that. You can work on them, but when you're already asleep, almost half dead, the mosquitoes can enjoy you. And remember, it's an infected female Anopheles mosquito, commonly known as Gambier. Now, this is the problem, that we are complacent, but also we've lost the fear.
And I think malaria. This same complacency even applies to HIV and AIDS. You notice at campus, girls fear pregnancy more than they fear AIDS. They'd rather contract AIDS, not that they wish, but if given the options, they'd rather sell their soul to AIDS than sell their soul to pregnancy, which doesn't make sense at all. But I think it's also a mindset and lifestyle of Ugandans that needs to be twitched. And if you say that a bit of force needs to be applied, sometimes I think it's necessary because, I mean, there are countries where force is applied and things are in order. Yet here we are treated with a hand with gloves and we are taking it for granted. How does
government give you a mosquito net? You have an LC on the village with, I think, 9 members. You have these politicians. Anyway, let me move away from the politicians. Let me look at, because a politician will see something bad, but because they know they may lose votes, some politicians, they'll say, no, this is not yellow, this is blue. So for them, they may not touch the voters, they may not want enforcement, they just want to stand in solidarity, whether right or good, some of them. Actually, but the technical people, those that are not elected, appointed or get jobs because they have gone to school and studied. Now, what are you doing when you pass through? When you pass through the village, these mosquito nets are not hidden.
They're not.
No, they are, you find a small garden that cannot even pay for a treatment of malaria. Now surrounded with the
mosquito nets.
The mosquito nets, so that the chicken do not go and mess around there. Now, you leave that. People use them for fishing. I hear people use them to get white ants. Are they enswa?
Yes.
You know, I heard the minister talk about that. And you see, even the authorities are complacent, the people are complacent, they are used to malaria, and yet government is spending a lot of money. The Global Fund, our development partners invested a lot of money to pass chase the mosquito nets, and also to ensure they are distributed. These were distributed door to door. Now, if when you're sleeping, because that is the most critical area where the mosquito will have your body. One will tell me, but Robert, when before I go to bed, can't a mosquito, and I get those bites of an infected mosquito? One, I want to remind you, when your body is still active, you can fight off these mosquitoes. But also in some areas where the situation is so worse, where there is high prevalence, government has brought in what we call indoor residual spray.
Right.
That they have gone and spread inside these houses.
Right. Now, looking at how dire the cases are, it was reported by World Health Organization that 300,000 cases weekly were reported. 300,000 cases weekly, and that was a trend that started in January 2022. But also looking at the different regions in Uganda are affected differently. If you look at West Nile and Acholi regions, they have a very high transmission intensity with incidence rates above 450 cases per 1,000 population. Lango, Karamoja, Teso, Bukedi, and Busoga regions have a medium transmission intensity with rates between 251 to 450 cases per 1,000 population. What do you think causes the difference in intensity and impact and transmission rates at that?
Now, first and foremost, we must talk, yes, for example, the mosquito nets. If people are not sleeping in mosquito nets,
right,
and in a certain area, like say the central here, there's a bit of sensitization. You may find that now if you use the mosquito nets, that is one. Two, proximity to water bodies and how you're managing. Proximity to forests and how you manage bushes around you. Now, you find that in some of these urban centers, the thickets, the bushes are not as many as in those areas. How they manage issues of stagnant water. Of course, in urban centers, you find that maybe everyone wants to be clean, I want to assume. Somewhere even there are people who do the cleaning.
Oh, well, when it comes to slums, it's quite a different story. Yeah.
Slums, those people are in urban centers, but in their own world.
Yeah.
Just that some of people have not bothered to go there, you'll discover that some people in these slums are not living in Kampala. They are located in Kampala, but they're not living in Kampala because their life is totally different from the life other city dwellers are living in. People who have places where you pay per night 3,000, they sleep in, so they're living a different life, but they're located in Kampala. Now, those factors, then too, awareness, levels of awareness also matter. And what annoys me with this generation, I don't know where you grew up, you who is watching us, or my co-host, but in my village, something that shook me, the people who thought were not that very exposed. I remember once it was 6, they would tell us Mugarama Didisa.
Right. Yeah.
And we knew 6, 5, all windows must be closed. I remember they would tell us to turn any bottle, anything, turn it upside down and sit as Zariromo.
Right.
You know, let that not be a breeding area for mosquitoes. I remember very well they had what we call Bukomera. That once in a while they could kunyoke. These trees of what I'm trying to look at for the botany name. Now, these people had not gone to school that much, but they somehow they would cut thickets around.
Right.
So once you can see the Jabaluma clear, you clear the bushes. So because mosquitoes would do, then during that they'll tell you open up the house, let lights come in, and so that in case they are anywhere, you know. But this generation, people have gone to school because malaria, I think, is P3 science. That's when we did study the Anopheles mosquito, how it spreads and all that. The generation of the educated, of people who have exposure, there are many things that we are doing wrong compared to our forefathers or our parents who are less exposed and less educated than we are.
Right, we are going to look at now the effects of malaria on our country. But before we even do that, let me engage. This is a very interesting comment. First and foremost, you can engage and share your opinion and what you think about what we're talking about. 0709602592. Now, Andre Waswa Semata says, malaria isn't news to Ugandans. After all, Many have gotten sick and have fought it successfully. So they know how to live with it. Malaria is more of an issue to first-class families, even quotes, and the other lower-class families have lots of problems bigger than malaria.
That's why you find those families, for them, if they have a garden of beans, like a small thing, their challenge is a meal.
Yes.
So they rather protect those beans. If they have a small banana plantation of 2 or 3, they rather protect that so that these the cock and around and the chicken do not.
So from what Andrew is submitting, it's safe to say that poverty is one of the causes of the increasing numbers of malaria.
But then how do you justify poverty when you're given a mosquito net? And you don't
like you rightly put it, that for them, protecting their food is more important
or
than
using it to get money.
Yes.
Now, also there is a frequently asked question, because one time I traveled, I was in Karamoja, deep there. Now I was speaking to someone, why do you have mosquito nets? And he told me, Robert, where should I hang it?
Meaning? There was nowhere to hang it in the house?
Have you ever gone to these houses? One was
oh, like in Karamoja, there.
The manyatas.
Yes, the manyatas.
Not everyone sleeps on a bed.
Yeah.
Some sleep
on
down
the floor. Yes.
On the floor, and they have their mattresses. I had never seen a bed made out of sticks and why. So some use that, but you know, it's because they are complacent. Like I told you, everyone has suffered from malaria and has recovered. Some even know herbs they use. So, and some people use excuses that you can't justify. I feel uncomfortable sleeping under a treated mosquito net. So they rather not have a net over them.
Well, I must say that there's a quality of nets that has whose net holes are quite smaller and instead block the breathing system, that when you're under it, you're suffocating. And I know there's a time government had to serve that kind. I know I received one whose holes were really tiny and it was hard to breathe whilst you were under it, which made it hard to now use a mosquito net. Yes.
So it's a justifiable excuse.
It's justifiable because you can't breathe. So I think there on the side of the government, I would say that it's important to also take note of the quality of the mosquito nets that are being given out. What size are they in terms of those tiny holes, the nets that form a net? What size are they? Are they accommodative for a human being as they sleep under it? Because it's quite important, lest one suffocates and passes away throughout the night. But let's look at the effects, outline the effects of malaria on Uganda. What effects has malaria had on Uganda?
Now, first, let's look at the burden of treatment, where I told you that every year we spend over $500 million US. That is treatment as a government, as a country. That money could be used for something else.
Right. 2,
the death. If you're losing between 14 to 17 people every day, I must tell you, you're losing a big number of the country's population. That could be productive. That could be productive. So they're dying due to malaria. How many would be babies if their mothers have not gone for antenatal and taken anti-malarials? Are we losing?
Right. 5 babies die almost every day. 5 babies and mothers due to malaria.
Due to malaria. So death, and then let's go to productivity. You know, I don't know anyone who suffers from malaria and they're as productive as they are when they are not sick.
Yeah.
Person will tell you, you call up, today I'm not coming to work, Robert. What is the problem? I'm bringing my vehicle. Now, if this vehicle is a business vehicle, maybe in tour and travel, and you're the mechanic I trust, and today you're unable to repair it, and I can't give it to people to go and have an accident, I'm losing out.
Right.
Remember, I'm paying tax. So productivity, we lose so much. Many people do not come to work on a daily because of malaria. And someone can justify, because it will show you the laboratory tests from a competent hospital and the treatment prescribed. Now, what are you going to do when the laws, if someone's not feeling fine and they are really sick and you're their employer, you have to stomach that. So the levels of productivity we are losing. But also, away from that, away from the treatment, we are investing so much in research due to malaria. I was at the Uganda Virus Institute, I hope I've gotten it right, at Entebbe. And I want to tell you there is so much research that is happening there. They are developing a mosquito. Would I use the word genetically? A mosquito that either is going to be eating these ones we have, if the laws and whatever framework is approved, or it is, once it mates, would I call it mating with these ones, they will only be giving birth to male. Now, this research is very expensive.
It is indeed.
Very expensive. So we are also not only investing in treatment, but we are investing in research as well. Now, also we must note that malaria itself, when we look at the so much human resource that goes in treating, because if you're telling me that 40%, I think the minister said in Uwero, of patients that are coming, are suffering, outpatients, are suffering from malaria. Now that means, one, the medical resource, the medical human resource that would be focusing on other diseases is focusing on malaria.
Right.
Now this may cause congestion. Yes, 40%. Now, what about these other people that have what we call non-communicable diseases? Hypertensive people, those with diabetes, those other diseases. Because most of your staff are handling one particular disease, because that's majority of the people. At the end of the day, you're having lines, queues of so many people in these hospitals, and then they are densely populated there. No wonder later you hear drug stock outs. So it affects our human resource as far as in the medical fraternity, that so much goes there, so much is going in research, so much is going in buying
now,
the medicines as well.
Let's have a look at still a couple of your comments, and this comes from Saurembo Nzomugaga Saurembo Enabweru, MP Addako Enansana Municipality Mbuza. Lwaki eddagala lya malaria baliseera nnyo? Why is malaria medicine so expensive? So he asks.
Omugaga Saurembo, hope he does understand this very well. Now, there's what we call factors of demand and supply. Now, when something is highly on demand, brother, it will have a high price.
It's a plain economics.
Now, away from that, let's go to government hospitals.
Right.
Malaria drugs are free of charge. I want to say one of the areas government has prioritized is buying and ensuring they are stocking malaria drugs. And many of those tablets have UGI, government of Uganda. So Mugaga Saurembo bw'ogenda awantu malwaliro ga gavumenti eddagala ly'omusujja ogw'ensiri bali kuweera bwereere. Tusasula wadde 100. Era bw'ogenda mu pharmacy yonna ne baguza eddagala eriko empekenge eriko UGI, government of Uganda. Please report to police.
Right.
Because sometimes the free drugs end up in private pharmacies and people are purchasing them.
Yeah, true. The Michael from Hoima says, thank you for presenting. Good morning. I think it's ideal for mosquito nets to start actively be used in government hospitals, because they will act as the best examples to the patients even when they go back home. This is actually profound. You realize someone is admitted for some other condition and then happens to leave after with malaria. I think this is profound. If you think about it, admissions in hospitals, hospital beds should have mosquito nets.
By the way, come to think about it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I've not gone to government hospitals.
I have. I've visited government
But
hospitals.
at least I've gone to private hospitals. And right now I'm in Lubaga, I have a patient who got an accident there.
Yeah.
I don't see a mosquito net, and I've not seen mosquito nets there.
In any hospital.
Even Lubaga, yes. And
private bed
I don't
government.
remember that my patient was given a mosquito net. I don't see that on the bed, neither any of the surroundings.
Yes.
But also Ugandans are funny. Some of them will live with these mosquito nets. You put them in, no.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
but
many.
the imagination of you taking time to unscrew, remove that net, and everyone is looking at you knowing that it's not yours.
Someone pretends
That's
they're
quite
going to wash it
blatant.
and it never returns. But that said, does not water down
Yes.
what I say, because if someone maybe has never slept in a mosquito net and they're in hospital,
They
you
take
see,
a leaf.
some of the things we need to introduce people to them.
Yes.
That they are not used to them, but also not to forget enforcement.
Right.
We may
Thank
not go
you.
inside your house, but should you, in your bedroom to see if you're sleeping under,
Yeah.
but should we find this mosquito net being misused?
We have the government has a right to ask
You
you.
should be
and to
arrested
answer.
and face the wrath of the law.
Yeah.
Then others, you see, some of the things you take force. Today we cherish coffee.
Right.
But are you aware that some of our forefathers were walloped and beaten? That's why they call it a mwanyi chiboko. But then their children went to school because of coffee.
Right, let's close this conversation. Michael, I actually find this very profound, and I hope whoever is a policy maker and is watching the show has picked it. Up next is GMU Tourism Express. We do have business and the agenda coming up, so stick around because the show is still on. Good morning, Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Looking for instant excitement? The Uganda National Lottery Spin for Cash game is now available online. Wherever you are, you can join the excitement for just 500, 1,000 and 2,000 Uganda shillings. Don't miss out. Register now on www.nationallottery.go.ug for a chance to win your share of 2 billion instantly. What are you waiting for? Play Spin for Cash now, anytime, anywhere. Ituba is the proud operator of the Uganda National Lottery.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play, win.
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Ituba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
That is good morning all the way from the southwestern part of Uganda. We are in Kabale district, still bringing you all of it. We had previously the art class, and right now it is poetry. Poetry is just going to be discussing how culture drives within this particular segment. How does poetry contribute to culture, and how do we use poetry to sustain our culture or our identities? These are Miss Tourism Southwestern Queens that are going to learn what is it skilling a girl child. And remember, it's not like we are leaving out the boy child, but with you, you will also get the skills. So we are going to let Precious take up the class and we see what poetry has to bring to us in regards to culture. Stick around.
Thank you so much, Lucky, and I'm privileged to be part of this. So like she said, we are going to look at how poetry relates to culture, especially in written and spoken word. And here we go. So I call poetry a language for the soul. And now we are going to see how the language of our soul relates to our culture, since the topic already tells us that it's I am my culture. So how does your soul portray to us through poetry that you really are your culture? First of all, poetry is driven out of us through our feelings. So what's your feeling toward culture? can I have an answer from any one of you? What do you feel toward your culture?
Okay, I feel good about my culture and excited because that is my identity and that is what I am.
Well, so now that good feeling you have, is it a little bit perturbed by what is happening within our culture?
Yes, for example, the changes and all the Western culture that is coming to mix up with our local culture.
Thank you. So now we are going to look at how we can preserve our culture through poetry. Of course, we have to speak out what we feel. We have to speak out what we think has to be done. And possibly there's going to be a solution. So we are going to first start writing by what we feel. Poetry has a number of different styles and I may call them types. But now I want us to specifically use free verse since we want to pour out, right? Yeah, we're going to use free verse as the type for today. Free verse is where you just express yourself without being limited by technicalities of literature or technicalities of poetry. So now we're going to just write what you feel about your culture, the frustrations you have, why you feel something must be done. So that's what you're going to write in just 3 stanzas. And we shall begin from there.
In the heart of the Pearl of Africa, where the mist kisses the lolling hills, lies a land where the drums of the past still echo in the valleys deep. Oh, Southwest, land of the strong, fierce, and ever bold, where the Bachiga dance to the rhythm of resilience, and the waters of Lake Winyonyi whisper ancient tales.
Oh, yes. Okay. Can you do this? Echo in the valleys deep. Oh, Southwest, the land of the strong, fearless, and ever bold, Bachiga dance to the rhythms of resilience. No one can dance without a smile on their face. Right. So please, light up your face.
Okay.
Try that.
They call you the sweetest land of Africa for your hills.
And proud like warriors.
They call you the sweetest land of Africa for your hills stand proud like warriors, guarding the secrets of a people whose strength shakes the earth.
Poetry to the young people helps you express how you feel. Yeah. Let's get to also listen in from the contestants. One of them is going to tell us how impactful this class was. This year's theme again is I Am My Culture. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, so you're going to tell us about this particular class and what you managed to learn from poetry in regards to culture.
Right. My name is Atile Precious and I'm one of the contestants of the Miss Tourism Southwest pageant. And this whole poetry class has been amazing. I can say from the learning of the expression, how can a word you're saying be connected to your body movement? You couldn't imagine that body movements communicate, but with the help of Madame Precious, we know that body language communicates. Someone who is blind can listen into your tone and know that this is what the person means. Someone who has hearing problems can look at someone speaking and it's like, oh, this is what the person intended to mean. It's been so funny how we just had to speak out the words, the way the words flow, but we are not attaching emotions and maybe expressions. But with the help of Madame Precious, she can tell that we are a changed class. The people she met at first and not the people she has met at the end of this class.
Indeed, it sounds like a very interesting class. When you see by the way she started already, she was sounding like a poet herself. And I'm really excited that they are getting to learn about this. It is I Am My Culture. We are still bringing in more classes. This was the poetry segment. And remember, we are proudly sponsored by the Uganda Tourism Board. Let's bring in another class shortly after this.
Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. I love poetry, and I almost felt like I was the one presenting that piece of poetry. Poetry is beautiful, and it tells a story in rhythm and in talk at the same time. Welcome back from GMU Tourism Express. Time for GMU Business. My name is Julie Nantaba Mosisi, and we are starting off with civil society organizations that welcomed the increase in Uganda's national budget to 72.13 trillion for the financial year 2025-2026. However, they are calling for a rise in the health sector allocation for the current 8%, from the current 8% to the Abuja Declaration target of 15% to achieve universal health coverage. Now, the health sector was allocated 5.8 trillion, representing 8% of the national budget. And now the civil society organizations have welcomed the increase, but they say for the financial year, civil society organizations raised concerns about Uganda's heavy reliance on donor funding for HIV interventions, which threatens sustainability. They further called for the establishment of a health emergency fund to tackle epidemics. Civil fast-tracking the National Health Insurance Scheme, engaging the private sector to co-finance public health priorities, and finalizing health integration guidelines and exploring debt swaps to manage national debts. Now, moving on, the Private Sector Foundation, Uganda PSFU, has applauded the financial sector for addressing key challenges faced by women entrepreneurs, especially the lack of affordable credit and collateral. Speaking at the launch of Elevate 2.0, a purpose-driven banking initiative by EcoBank for women-led businesses, Sarah Kajingo, PSFU Vice Chairperson, hailed the move as a step towards bridging the financial gap. Elevate 2.0 offers collateral-free loans of up to 50,000 US dollars, approximately 180 million Uganda shillings, easing cash flow for women entrepreneurs to grow and stabilize their businesses. She noted that while the loans are collateral-free, applicants must meet specific criteria, including business registration and proof of operational capacity. The head of commercial banking, EcoBank Uganda, Kajingo Elizabeth Mwerinda Kasede, emphasized that Elevate 2.0 is about empowering women to achieve financial independence and contribute to economic growth. The Vice Chairperson, PSFU Sarah Kajingo, welcomed EcoBank's effort to integrate affordable finance into the entrepreneurial ecosystem, describing it as a timely intervention for women's economic advancement. Women entrepreneurs in Uganda often face challenges in securing loans due to deep-seated social and economic barriers. Initiatives like Elevate 2.0 offer more than funding. They offer hope and opportunity. Now, the State Minister for Animal Industry, Bright Ramirama, has urged stakeholders to invest in and finance Uganda agri-food systems to boost production for both regional and global markets. Ramirama made these remarks at the Uganda Agri-Food Systems Investment and Financing Conference held at Uganda Industrial Research Institute in Namamve. The conference was organized by FAO in partnership with MAAIF, the Office of the Prime Minister, and other stakeholders. Uganda's agri-food systems are constrained by multiple challenges. According to the 2024 State of Food Security and Nutrition report, over 34% of Ugandans are undernourished, with more than 12 people facing food insecurity, despite a drop in national poverty from 20.3% to 16.1%. Extreme poverty remains high in the eastern 22.9% and northern 26.8% regions. Calling for more strategic investment to address these gaps, FAO and partners convened at the conference to explore innovative financing mechanisms to attract public and private investment in key agricultural value chains. They highlighted that inadequate funding in agriculture and trade remains a major barrier to food system transformation. The scale of investment needed far exceeds current domestic budget allocations. Well, that's Sit, let's have a look at what is on the what is with the forex trades today as of yesterday, 24th June 2025. Started with the US dollar selling at 3,603.00 and selling at 3,613.00, and by midday it was buying at 3,595.27, dropped some value there, and selling at 3,605.27, and it closed in at 3,592.64, dropped value still, and selling at 3,602.64, closed in at 4,800. That is, pardon me, the British pound that was buying at 4,875.21 and selling at 4,888.78, and the euro was buying at 4,171.77 and selling at 4,183.38. The Kenyan shilling was buying at 27.80 and selling at 27.88, and the Tanzanian shilling still at a drop of 1.34 and selling still at 1.34, and the South African rand did gain its value up to 201.56, buying and selling at 202.12. And that is it for today's GMU business segment. My name is Julie Nantaba Musisi, coming back with the agenda. And as every Wednesday, we celebrate cooperatives, but also learn more about cooperatives as we look forward to celebrating the International Day of Cooperatives. Good morning, Uganda. Stick around. Make sure that you save the number 0709 602 592.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000, or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Looking for instant excitement? The Uganda National Lottery Spin for Cash game is now available online. Wherever you are, you can join the excitement for just 500, 1,000 and 2,000 Uganda shillings. Don't miss out. Register now on www.nationallottery.go.ug for a chance to win your share of 2 billion instantly. What are you waiting for? Play Spin for Cash now, anytime, anywhere. Ituba is the proud operator of the Uganda National Lottery.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play, win.
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Ituba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group HGO brand has officially launched the Rider Selection Campaign. Registration is now open. Visit www.riders.hgo.com. Complete your registration now for a chance to win exciting prizes, including motorcycles, exclusive HGO gift boxes, and official rider vests, all while promoting safe riding awareness. This is how to participate. Pay the registration fee, invite 3 friends to form a team of 4, and your registration fee will instantly be refunded. Begin your journey of honor today. Don't miss this opportunity. Join the challenge, promote road safety, and become a pioneer rider. For details, visit the official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll-free 0800-335-555 or visit our offices at Kingdom Kampala, 3rd floor to register now and win prizes worth millions.
It's a FlexiPay cashback explosion. Shop and pay with your FlexiPay. Cashback, instant. It's a FlexiPay cashback explosion.
It's a FlexiPay cashback explosion. Simply shop and pay with your FlexiPay at activating outlets and enjoy instant cashbacks. Terms and conditions apply. Stanbic Bank is regulated by the Bank of Uganda, and customer deposits are protected by the Deposit Protection Fund up to 10 million Uganda shillings.
Juko. Yo. What you check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the Parish Development Model, PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The Parish Development Model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group HGO brand has officially launched the rider selection campaign. Registration is now open. Visit www.riders.hgo.com. Complete your registration now for a chance to win exciting prizes including motorcycles, exclusive HGO gift boxes, and official rider vests, all while promoting safe riding awareness. This is how to participate. Pay the registration fee, invite 3 friends to form a team of 4, and your registration fee will instantly be refunded. Begin your journey of honor today. Don't miss this opportunity. Join the challenge, promote road safety, and become a pioneer rider. For details, visit the official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll free 0800-335-555 or visit our offices at Kingdom Kampala 3rd floor to register now and win prizes worth millions.
Across Uganda, the parish development model is paving the way for prosperity, helping families transform their lives through strategic farming practices, like the 4-acre model.
In our Chibaro of 1996, we said first acre, put coffee. Second acre, fruits. In the third acre, you put pasture for dairy cows. The fourth acre, for food, cassava. The good thing is that now cassava is also becoming a very good cash product, but at least for food. Then, mind you, the backyard. You put poultry for eggs, you put piggery.
I'm in a 1-acre plot of land. In this 1 acre, Your Excellency, I practice this banana plantation. I also practice coffee. I also have dairy, Your Excellency. Every month, Your Excellency, I get 500,000 from these bunches.
The 7 activities we recommended, they have a big global demand.
We have 10,000 Nile tilapia fish and 10,000 African catfish. And when we sell our 10,000 tilapia, we get in one harvest 20 million shillings.
Fruits, especially capuchon, which is cold, can do very high value crops like apples. And then finally, those who are near the wetlands, like the ones in Bukit who are wasting the wetlands, they should do fish farming, not in the center of the swamp, but at the edge of the swamp.
From coffee farms to fish ponds, the 4-acre model is empowering Ugandans to transform their lives. The parish development model is your pathway to wealth creation. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance.
In all these years, we emphasize 2 words, wealth and jobs. And we try to waken our people up to show them where wealth and jobs come from.
The Parish Development Model, PDM, is a bold initiative that is reshaping Uganda's rural economy. By allocating 100 million shillings to each parish annually, PDM empowers households by unlocking opportunities for wealth creation.
This program will be maintained. Each year we send 100 million for the parish. If you get the 1 million, You can buy some goats, you can buy some pigs, you can buy even young cows.
Farmers are transitioning from subsistence farming to commercial agriculture, laying the groundwork for wealth creation and improved livelihoods.
This project started 11 years ago after an inspiration from His Excellency. And that time I was working as a taxi driver. I was doing that master business in Soroti, and he was talking about how to improve household income.
With the PDM, you bring back the money after 24 months. But in the third year, you would get another 100 million paid back by those who got first.
The President's message is a mindset changer. Becoming rich does not mean you should have a lot of land, you should have a lot of education, you just need a vision and implement and start from where you are.
So therefore, this PDM is to get all of you out of poverty. That's why we said 100 million per parish per year.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance.
Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala.
We have to change the political culture in this country, really. Who has bewitched Ugandans?
I want to assure you, as government, we shall do whatever it takes to ensure that Ugandans are safe.
We have conversations that have analysis, explanation.
This law society, this union of theirs, because they want a job everywhere, they want to be this, they want to be that, they want... No. We know it's a union.
You cannot be making a road, bitumen grade 1, in Congo for 5 billion.
But not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth.
The argument that the General Court Martial is responsible for peace and stability is without basis, either in law or in fact.
We have been told how Napoleon was a great orator. Now, Napoleon cannot help me get food. They told me combine harvest in Saskatchewan. I don't know where Saskatchewan is. This is a geographer we taught. Instead of teaching me how to preserve Mabera forest, they're teaching me about Rhineland. This is a problem we got. We cannot run away from it.
Right now, you hear very disgusting stories of members of parliament. Instead of discussing the details of loans, they ask for their cuts.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda. Live from UBC studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
A very good morning to you. Good morning, Uganda. This is UBC TV coming to you live from Nile Avenue. If you have just joined the show, you're welcome. And if you've been with us since the start, thank you for sticking around and watching the program. My name is Julie Nantaba Musisi, and like last week, we did share that 5th July is International Day of celebrating cooperatives, and in Uganda it will be celebrated in Fort Portal City. Preparations are underway, but we cannot do that without talking about the different things cooperatives bring to the table in Uganda's growth, and that is one like driving inclusive and sustainable solutions for a better Uganda and a better world altogether. Now, to do that, in studio with me is Afande Alan Nyimiye Rugaya Mpunzi, and he is from Exodus Police Circle. But as always, the usual suspects from Uganda Cooperative Alliance, Jacqueline Zawede Ariho is with me as well. She is the communications officer of Uganda Cooperatives Alliance, and she is here as well to speak into this matter. Starting with you, Jacqueline, good morning.
Good morning, Juliet, and
once again, I'm happy to be here.
Right. Good morning, Afande.
Good morning, Julie.
Now, when I met Afande, he was so chill. He was just like, come, Alan. And usually the impression we get of Afandes when you see them in their garb, you just want to salute and say, Afande, Jumbo, sir. But it's so good to interact with an Afande at such a human level, yet in uniform and in all guard of honor. And I'll start with you, Afande. Last week, we did get the opportunity to talk about the International Day of Cooperatives, but from your perspective, why is it important to Uganda?
Well, good morning, viewers. The International Day of Cooperatives has been celebrated since actually 1923, but in 1992, the United Nations, through Resolution 4990, adopted that the first Saturday of July, and I think it started around there. That adoption got the 5th July 1995, and it was gazetted as International Day of Cooperatives. This day is very important to Uganda because cooperatives is not a new thing in Uganda. Even before the coming of colonialism, people have been cooperating. When you hear in Uganda, you have things of Bulungi Wansi. That is all about cooperation. And Uganda is predominantly a society that cooperates, families, extended families. So the day is very important for Uganda because we have a huge base of cooperatives, and all these cooperatives have an input into the economy of the country, in social welfare, and in the level of bringing up development, because the cooperatives in all their form, the agriculture cooperatives and the financial cooperatives known as the SACCOs, they all have an input. They contribute to the society and to the country. So it is very important to have this day in strengthening the bond. And the sixth principle of cooperatives, cooperation among cooperatives, it is a chance in the year to have all cooperatives come together and share ideas and promote, showcase what they are doing and strengthen their movement. So, and inspire others to join the cooperative movement. So in case anyone out there is not in a cooperative, this is the chance. And moreover, 2025 has also been gazetted as the year of cooperatives. So if you are not in a cooperative, this is the chance to join one and be part of the ever-growing movement.
All right. I'll come to you, Jacqueline. I have two questions for you. One he has actually raised in regards to joining a cooperative. But let me start with 5th July, which is the big day that we are looking forward to. What has UCA prepared?
Thank you so much, Julie. And once again, good morning, viewers. Oh, it is such a big day.
Right.
And we want to make it as glamorous as possible. And I suppose that we have actually done so. First of all, leading to that day, ahead of that day, the actual day, which you ably said that is going to happen on 5th of July, which is a Saturday, there are a number of activities that we have planned. And one of them, we are going to start off with a press conference at the Media Center, and it's going to be presided over by the Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. And here we've gathered a number of, because it's the media that actually are going to help us to promote this day. And as much as we are promoting, we are doing the background, promotion with all the cooperatives that are hosting us. That is Busaiga and Toro Dairy, Busaiga Sacco and Toro Dairy, as well as other cooperatives who have helped us, who have supported in actually promoting this day. We also have the media as a very, very big, arm in promoting this day. So we have prepared a press conference at the media center, and we are going to have maybe over 40 media houses in and around Uganda, and some even coming from other regions. I mean around Kampala, and also some that are coming from other regions. Then we've also prepared a blood donation drive, and this is countrywide. We are launching it this Friday, and the Minister of State for Cooperatives, Honorable Gume Frederick Ngobi, will be the one to actually launch it and preside over it. And it's going to happen in Kaliro district. So here we want to call upon every cooperator to come and donate blood, because our target is to collect as much as 1,000 units of blood on that day.
And it's very important.
And it's very important.
Yes.
It is giving back to the community, but also the people themselves are giving back, because every time you donate blood, you're giving back to the community and the society as well. So we have worked together with the Blood Bank of Uganda, and we have put together a very good activity. And I know the media will also be there to showcase what we are going to do. So when we launch it, then it will go countrywide. So we expect blood donation in Kampala, in Toro, in Gulu, in Bale, everywhere there's going to be blood donation. And we call upon people to come, because this is something that we are doing as cooperators, but also for the good of the community. Then that will be 27th, this Friday. But now we've also launched a tree planting campaign. And this time we want to say that cooperators are very, very involved in climate management, in managing our environment, protecting our environment. That is why we want every cooperator out there. We call upon every cooperator out there. Get a tree and plant it. It doesn't matter where you plant it, maybe at the back of your compound, maybe in front of your office, maybe in your garden. Plant a tree. Get a coffee plant, a coffee seedling. Get a cocoa seedling. Get any tree, and you plant it, and then you can just take a small video, just 1 minute video, and then you send it to us. There is an award that is waiting for you. Why do we do it? Because we want to show that, you see, farmers, they depend on the environment, on the climate. Now, every time we cut a tree and we do not plant another tree in place, we are spoiling, we are killing the environment. So we want the cooperators and of course other people to be, you know, to take the lead in making sure that our environment is well managed. So that is why we are saying, take the lead, get your phone and take a video, just a small video, as you're doing what? As you're planting a tree. Bring it to UCA. You're going to get an award. That one is an assurance.
I think I am now going to work for this award. It might be so huge as
and
money.
On top of that, Julie, we also have prepared a symposium.
Right.
Now, the symposium is going to happen down in Fort Portal, and it's happening on the 4th of July. That is now the day before. And we want all cooperators, because it's going to be massive. We are going to educate cooperators. But you know, as I talk now, we have already signed an agreement with Moshi University, a memorandum of understanding, and we are going to start having cooperative education in our universities. So it is starting from Tanzania and is now going to trickle into Uganda. So now this is the information that the cooperators need to understand when they are there, the symposium. Talk about climate finance. Those are some of the topics that we are going to have at the symposium. Talk about digitization in cooperatives. That is something that is still a myth, like I always say, among our cooperatives, not even cooperatives only, but the entire world. We need to understand, how do you digitize your processes in order to economically be sustainable? You get it? So that is one of the topics. The other is financial inclusion. We want to see how our cooperatives are going to, and we have lined up very many people who are going to present. Talk about Stanbic Bank is going to present. And by the way, Stanbic Bank is one of our big sponsors. And we thank you so much, Stanbic Bank, for supporting and standing in for us on this day. Talk about Bank of Uganda. we want Bank of Uganda to be there and present to us that financial inclusion part. Talk about the professors at Makerere University. So it is going to be very massive. And then at the end, we shall now have the actual day.
Right.
I'm here to say things that are going to happen there. But I just want to say, corporate, as you come on Saturday, 5th July, you will see for yourself.
Right. You talked about the press conference. When is it going to be?
That one is going to be on 1st July.
Oh,
which
right.
is a Tuesday next week.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Looking forward to it. And that big price of planting a tree. It must be money or a vehicle. I think
we shall not divulge, but you know that the moment you plant a tree, you might even get an award from even the president himself, but we shall not divulge that one.
Interesting, interesting. Coming to you, Afande, I was supposed to ask this to Jacqueline, but let me ask it to you instead. And you talked about this particular day of International Day of Cooperatives as one that should be used as an opportunity to join a cooperative. Explain in simple terms, layman terms, to someone viewing, how does one join a cooperative? How simple is it? How hard is it?
Oh, well, we call it arriving under fire.
Okay.
And I say it passed my mind to say I'm also here because I'm representing the chairman of the Exodus SACCO, as a police Exodus SACCO. Senior Commissioner of Police, Dr. Omoding Wilson Otuna. And yesterday, he planted a tree.
Did he take his video?
Yes, we did that, and we also launched the group loan facility product. And we began with our women, police women from Kamwacha. So if you are out there, a police officer or wife or husband to a police officer, and you haven't really engaged yourself in all SACCO activities, please, this is the opportunity. Come to Exodus SACCO and get your services. Also bring you greetings from the Inspector General of Police, who is the patron of our SACCO.
Right.
Now, joining a cooperative is quite easy because the number one to know is that cooperatives are on voluntary and open basis. That if you come identify a cooperative and their aspirations meet your aspirations, then you can join, study about them, study about their conditions. For example, Exodus SACCO, if I take ourselves as an example, one, you have to be a member of the Uganda Police Force, whether civilian staff, because we have civilian staff as well, or the regular police staff. And your spouses can also join, and your children can also join. If you identify any other SACCO, you only need to study their bylaws, and if you agree with them, then you join that SACCO. So it is pretty easy to join a SACCO. Now, there are people who think that maybe you have to identify a big SACCO or a big cooperative. You have to first be a very huge farmer to join a cooperative. But even at a small scale, like I said, we sometimes think cooperatives are these massive organizations, but we have even at a smaller level, people are calling themselves associations, clubs. All those are forms of cooperatives, although they haven't regularized the way they work according to the cooperative law. So it is very easy to join a cooperative for as long as you understand your aspirations meet their aspirations. You join and you be part of them, and you carry out the functions.
Right. Yeah. You did shed a bit of light about Exodus Police SACCO. What inspired the formation of Exodus Police SACCO?
Well, I think, 1995, the welfare status of individual police officers was not something to be proud about.
Right.
And there was a huge poverty. And of course, the number one social challenge, the number one challenge in the world is now poverty. And we got an inspiration when we had officers from UPDF, beginning with Afande Katumba Wamala heading the police, but to effectively bring about Exodus Sacco, Afande Kaihura, when he was the IGP, brought that inspiration, him being one of the founders of Wazalendo. And it's not that police didn't have any form of maybe grouping or what. They had an association, but it was a private company. It is a private company. So the spirit of cooperatives is that people must be in control. You don't need a private company where there are only a few people who are in charge. You can't question them. It is their company. So to copy the good trend of Wazalendo, Exodus Sacco came into play, and police officers joined, and that is way back in 2005. And up to now, up to this point, it grew from a nominal 47 members who started it to now boasting of over 43,000 members. So it was an inspiration to say, if a police officer needed, say, credit, a loan, why would they need to go to a bank to be charged very high interest, go to loan sharks to be bled financially? Instead, they said, you come home, get your loan at a very low rate of 1.4% per month. It's about 14% per year. And so that was the inspiration, that police officers, just like maybe our big brothers and sisters in the UPDF, need their own home. And that is how it came to be. And there was quite a very big revolution in 2020. Prior to 2020, there were very big challenges with the SACCO. But with the coming on board of Dr. Omoding and Dr. Namtevi Hadija, who is chairperson of the SUPBO, caused a massive revolution and grew the SACCO from having only 800 million in the accounts to having over 60 billion. So we are talking about a financial revolution where police officers are benefiting. And now with the inclusion of the group loan product, we are very sure that our trajectory is going to shoot higher. And we invite members, or if you know you're a wife to police staff, you tell your husband that I want to join Exodus Sacco. If you are a child, if your father or mother is a police officer, say, Daddy, Mommy, I want to join Police Exodus Sacco. If you're civilian staff, same thing. And in future, we are going to, because we work with the public through community policing, even you, Julie, you're going to be invited to join. Or simply you can find a police officer and you can join with them. So Police Exodus Sacco is there to improve the welfare of the police officer, the staff, civilian staff, and their families, so that we can all get out of poverty.
Right, that's very profound. You are watching UBC TV, Good Morning Uganda. And on this Wednesday, we are looking forward to celebrating the International Day of Cooperatives and in Uganda, the Ugandan way. That's why we have amazing people in studio to speak into this, but also the whole picture about cooperatives and why, anyway, are cooperatives celebrated. In studio with me is Mrs. Jacqueline Ariho Zawede, and she is a representative from the UCA, and Afande Alan Nyimiye Rugayampuzi, who is from Exodus Sacco. Now, somebody comes through and says, I think we need producer cooperatives organized from national level up to grassroots, and that you must be, okay, you did not leave your name, I can't tell your name, but thank you so much for getting in touch. The number is 0709 602 592. Thank you for the show. How do I send the plant? This is to Jacqueline. How should the plant be sent? She will definitely share how you are going to share your plant. And this is Reverend Captain David Katenya from Boyikwe. Thank you for the program. I wanted to inquire from you that of which number, okay, which number to send the plant. This side we really practice tree planting. Right, Jacqueline will be sharing that. Is it possible to share that now where the videos can be sent to?
Yes, you're not sharing a plant. You're sharing a video as you're planting. That, just to be specific there. We have a platform. Yes. Cooperators do have a platform. And I'm glad to say that I'm one of the people who manages that platform. So in case you do not mind, I can leave my number so that they can just save it. Just send me a small hi, yes, and then they can send me that video on my WhatsApp.
Please go ahead and share the number.
My number is 0776 312250. I can say that again. Yes. 0776 312250. Now, that number, as much as it is mine personal, but I use it for, official work because I'm the communications and marketing officer at Uganda Cooperative Alliance. So you can share all your videos on the number 24/7. I don't mind, as long as there are videos of you planting a tree and not something else. Yes. I would be very happy to get all those videos.
Right. Yes. Hopefully you've noted the number, jotted it and saved it so that, yes, you stand a chance to win yourself that big prize, as Jacqueline rightly put it. And that big prize is really scratching my brain. I think I should, because surely it should be big. Afande, coming to you, from your experience, how do SACCOs empower individuals who might otherwise have been excluded, especially from the current financial systems as they are running the world?
Okay, we are talking about SACCOs, but SACCOs are only part of cooperatives.
Part of, yes.
Yes. I had someone talking about producer cooperatives, and my supervisors here from the Uganda Cooperative Alliance, they take over the supervision and guidance of all cooperatives.
Right.
And that includes producer cooperatives, consumer cooperatives, and now the savings and credit cooperatives. So to have inclusion in the savings and in the SACCOs is that SACCOs, according to the Cooperatives Act as amended in 2020, they do not discriminate with gender, race, religion, or even politics, since this is a political season. You cannot form a SACCO basing on political affiliation. That would not be as per law. So to have financial inclusion is that SACCOs must be open and voluntary. And when you are giving out, let's say, a loan, you are not going to look at somebody's height. You are only going to look at their commitment to the SACCO and how they have been participating. And that is one of the principles. You are member participation determines the level of credit you are worth. Your credit worthiness is determined by your level of participation. In other countries, the SACCOs are known as credit unions, but it's
pretty much the same
it's
thing.
pretty much the same thing. So to have financial inclusion is that we don't want to leave anyone behind in this. And the president of the country, who's the #1 cooperator, has been saying this, that at one time when he was in Tungamo, and that thing is always on my mind, he said, there are some people who are saying, I go. Now I go when I'm pushing you like a wheelbarrow. Now if I go, the one who is pushing you, I drop it and then you fall down.
Wow, yeah. Yes.
That's what he meant.
What a metaphor, yeah.
Yeah, that you should come into the money economy, join a SACCO. It doesn't matter if it is at your workplace, if it is at the village level, the district, if you have maybe, now there are powerful old boys and girls SACCOs.
Yes.
I know one of, I think the biggest should be Namiryango, or something like that, Young Old Boys Association SACCO. Very powerful. So it does not matter where you are. I hope here at UBC there is a SACCO. If not, I think Jackie, after the show, we should pass by Mr. Mogisha's office and you say, UBC, what's happening? Yes. What is happening? You might miss out on the
goodness,
on the prize that she's talking about.
I know, right?
But to be included in the money economy is very important.
Right.
That the biggest problem is access to cheap credit. Banks have been playing that role, but at a very expensive rate. And you've seen people suffer with their properties taken because, one, these other people who give financial services do not engage in education. But in cooperatives, you must engage in education first. You must educate the members, give them options, and show them direction as to where they should invest.
Right.
So the education bit gives you inclusion because you now take action based on an understanding. You see, to make choice, you must know what you are choosing.
True.
If cooperatives didn't engage into education, then it would be no different from other players in the financial sector. So we are saying for the small person who cannot open an account in a bank, open your account in a SACCO. For you, the small farmer who cannot sell your produce alone, join a produce cooperative and sell as one. We're talking about coffee. Coffee farmers, you join a cooperative. They have been there for some time. There are some old cooperatives that were there, I think pre-1986, but they were very politicized, reaching 1986. And that is why the sector fell a bit until now UCA revived the spirit and removed politics from cooperatives, and now the movement is growing to include everyone. Because formerly they would look at you and ascertain, is this one supporting?
Which color is your blood?
So inclusion in the financial sector is because cooperatives are now open and they are non-discriminatory, in that everyone can join and be a member of a cooperative at any level.
Right, which curbs the discrimination level, but also allows inclusivity in all forms.
It doesn't matter whether woman, man, short, tall, fat, or just come in, as long as you your aspirations meet the aspirations of the founders of the cooperative. And the beauty is, with democratic control in cooperatives, we are now seeing a rise of we are in a generation where the Gen Zs are very many.
Yes.
So perhaps in 2005, the founders maybe of Police Exodus Sacco, some of them have long passed on. There were no use of computers at that time. But now we have a website, we have usage of the phone. So that is also including this new age, the new generation that is high tech, so that we don't leave anyone behind.
Yes.
And we are encouraging you. If you are young, your next destination is old. So once you're still young, you have to save and invest for your old age.
Yeah.
I again refer to the president. He says, don't work for cham. So save, because if I go to circles, you must save. Once you have put your money in a pool, then you can afford to get very cheap credit. So you are saving for credit. And some ask that, what about my savings? Can I have access to them? Yes. Once you put your savings in a pool, they become our savings, all of us. And whatever, because cooperatives do not make profits, they make surplus. Their intention is not to make profits, but is to take care of the members' financial needs.
Right.
And God willing, if there is a surplus of the need, then it is plowed back to the members to say, members, in our interaction and cooperation, we got some benefit. What do we do with it? And the law says you have to plow it back into the cooperative and only give some minimal part in form of dividends to the members. Why? We are talking about sustainability. You do not do actions that benefit only you in a short period of time.
That's true.
Probably our forefathers who put this country in order, they are not doing it for themselves. The president is not working for himself. He's working such that the Ugandans who will be here long after we have left can say, yeah, those people took a decision to make something sustainable. So going to the theme, like inclusion, sustainability, whatever you do today should have an impact on someone who will come 50 years long after you have gone. I've said 20 years ago, some of those who formed Police Exodus Sacco are no longer with us. They did not receive the benefits that the members are currently enjoying.
Yes.
So for us now, who are in Police Exodus Sacco, we are saying, how do we leave an institution that 20 years after us, somebody will be saying that, yeah, at that time of Omoding, they left something that was very big. So inclusion, take part, be a member of the Sacco. You can begin as a Chibina. It is it's very okay. UCA always gives free education.
True.
Contact them, they give you free education. And they can even help you, I think, in the legal documentation for you now to join and become a cooperative. How do you benefit? Our number one cooperator, the president, decided that cooperatives are adding a lot to the economy and they should not be taxed. So if you want to get the cooperative advantage, form a cooperative, and whatever you do it as a cooperative, and you get that tax benefit. So there are so many things now. Currently, the PDM is based on a cooperative model.
Yes.
And
actually, if you say that, I think the president should now be more involved, use the UCA more in launching and evaluating the PDM model, because you realize some of it, the money is being swindled left, right, and center. You know, he has to be on ground himself to supervise, yet the UCA is here to help him do that ideally.
True to that, and I give kudos to also the Secretary General of UCA, Mr. Ivan Asimwe.
Right.
He's an inspiration. He's one of the people who presented the policy to the president for that cooperatives should not be taxed. Why? If I am saving, these are savings from my earnings, which have already been taxed.
That's true.
So why are you taxing again my savings? So that is double taxation. And the president understood it and put it forward. And what you say is true. The PDM is based on the cooperative model. So like you say, if there is any evaluation to be done, I think the Ministry of Finance should hand over oversight to UCA.
If you think about it, instead of the president.
How will it stop the swindling? You see, cooperatives are mandated to hold accountability each year in what you call an annual general meeting.
True.
So in that way, you have got to present your budget.
The report has
to come. And we promote openness in cooperatives. Openness. Lay it down and say, this is what came in, this is what was spent, this is what we have. So if to really hold the cooperative model of PDM, then UCA must really play
yes, indeed. I highly do agree with you. And if our Jaja is watching, surely indeed. Jaja, it's about time you included the UCA in the PDM model. I think it will solve many solutions in regards to the corruption scandals that come from the sides to attack the beautiful model, the PDM model that you are pushing for Ugandans to get out of poverty. 0709602592 is the WhatsApp number for you to engage and share that question that you want to ask, or share your opinion at that. Coming to you, Jacqueline, as we look forward to celebrating the 5th of July, what do you think this day adds to the cooperatives movement in Uganda?
Thank you, Julie. Now, the usual suspects.
Yes.
CPA Ivan, the usual suspect.
Yes.
Is always here every Wednesday.
True,
telling the world that there has to be awareness of cooperatives. There's been a lot of unawareness. People are not yet aware. The other day I was on radio, one of the radios around, and a caller called in and said, what is this about cooperatives? What do they mean by cooperatives? For us, we have our small village saving group out there. Is it also called a cooperative?
Yes.
So people do not know.
I will testify. I will testify. It's for as long as I've worked with UBC that I've understood that, I've always been a part of a cooperative and I just did not know.
Yes,
I'm part of YSEV.
And you don't even know where to go and get redress in case you have disputes. UCA is there.
Yes.
You do not know where to register. You do not know that actually a circle is formed by 30 people that come together. Other people are just 10 and they are calling themselves circles. They are not even registered. So that kind of awareness, that is what we are now going to educate. When I told you about the symposium, these are the things that are going to come out. Secondly, I've always been, the first time I came here, I talked about digitization. We are now no longer in the analog era.
Yes.
We are now digital. Everything that we do has to be digitalized. All the systems have to be digitalized. So now we want to create that kind of awareness that cooperatives can actually work very efficiently and effectively when they are digitized. That is why now we are partnering with NITA-U. We are partnering with the Ministry of ICT. They are going to come down there at the symposium and they will talk about how do we include our cooperatives into this world, this modern world of digitization. How do they become innovative in their works?
And how do they track their money flows?
For example, a cooperative like Toro Dairy, they produce lots of milk. Now, how do you now make it digital? For it, you know, that is why, you know, cooperatives in Korea, cooperatives in Germany, you know, this thing, cooperatives, is not only here in Uganda. It is something very big out there. But for them, they've digitized their systems in that when it comes to exporting, everything is digital. You're not going to go there physically because it wastes time, it wastes resources. So now how can we tap onto that to educate our cooperatives? Then the other thing also, why this day is very important, is that it is bringing all these cooperators together.
Right.
You know, cooperators are going to exhibit all their services and products. We are going to have an exhibition. It's going to be massive and huge. And actually, we call upon people to come and support and put money in this function so that it becomes big. It becomes the event of the year that everyone is going to be talking about, the International Day of Cooperatives. How do you do that? Bring your products. Come and exhibit. People are out there. There is a cooperative called Bushika it's a circle in Mbali. Those people have produced coffee. They are producing coffee, very high quality coffee. I think it is on the standard, that gentleman talked about a standard. I don't remember very well, but that is a standard which is actually at the same standard as the coffee from Germany that is being imported in Uganda. You can imagine. As we are producing, we are exporting coffee, and yet the coffee that we are importing is even of higher quality. But now these people have added value into their coffee. Now that is the kind of coffee, the exhibition, the showcasing. We want to sit down there in Fort Portoboma grounds. People, bring your honey. There is a lady, our deputy chairperson at UCA. She is producing honey with her cooperative there. But, you know, that lady gave us a testimony, a success story of how this honey, you cannot throw anything out when you start producing honey. Even these combs, you can go and attract more bees to come. There's something, what are they called, those honeycombs? You can use those honeycombs to actually attract bees, again, to continue with the cycle. She talked about propolis. She talked about beeswax that you can use as wax candles. The Vaseline we use as ladies. We men, even there are things that she talked about that men can use in becoming, you know, the network going up there using honey.
Interesting, yes.
So when you come and now exhibit these kinds of products, we get to understand, we get to know that actually you're a cooperative. Instead of, you know, cooperatives have assets. You will concur with me, Afand. There are very many assets in corporate, in circles that are just lying bare. The other day we were in Gulu. I told you that time we were in Gulu.
Yes.
And people are having resources. They have land, square miles and square miles of land. They have assets, they have machines that are just lying bare. Now, if you come and showcase that kind of thing, you don't even have to grab your entire machine to come to the ground, but you just produce a brochure. Tell us that this is what now Busaiga Sacco is doing in terms of cooperatives. That is the kind of awareness we are talking about. I also want to say something small about the cooperative bank. You know, still the thanks go back to the Ministry of Trade and also our GS, the usual suspect. He has been crying for a cooperative bank, and I'm happy to announce and say that last week we actually launched it. Now, we did not launch it under these tiers of banks, because now for a actual bank there has to be a threshold. For example, tier 1 has to have 500 billion. Tier 2 is it having 200, and which cooperators are not yet there. Even tier 3, which is under the MDIs and the MFIs, it has to have at least a threshold of 5 billion. So what we decided to go for tier 4, because that one you're not expected to have any certain capital, you know, threshold. So as we grow, and many commitments actually came in terms of capitalizing this bank. We called it the National Finance Cooperative Society. because it now brings together all the societies and we bank our money there. You get it? And there are very many benefits in the cooperative bank. So now as we grow and we capitalize and we make sure we inject money in this society as the general society for cooperators, now it becomes a bank and it will be regulated by Bank of Uganda. But there are very many things and benefits that we can, any cooperator here can actually agree with me that when we have our own bank, we used to have it, though it kind of got, I think, because of political things and what, it was it's no longer there. But you go to Tanzania, go to Kenya. Kenya, theirs, I think, has been there since 1960s. Yeah, Tanzania, it was just the other day that they made theirs the National Bank of Cooperators. National. So if we can also call ours, we can also come together. We've already started. The ministry is behind us. The president is behind us. Everyone is behind us. So we have started this and we are ready to run with it. So when we also come and tell the cooperators on that day that you people, we have started a bank, and then we get all this commitment, people will come and we shall be able to capitalize, to put capital in our bank, so that it now stops being referred to as a society, and now it becomes a bona fide bank.
Right, very profound indeed. Now let me get into your comments. You are watching, first and foremost, you're watching UBC TV. Good Morning Uganda is the name of the show. And if you found us halfway, we are looking forward to celebrating the International Day of Cooperatives and the advantages that cooperatives have for Uganda. Every Wednesday, we are learning about cooperatives and having different players in the field of cooperatives. And today we do have Afande with us, Afande Alan Nyimie with us. He is from Exodus Sacco, and Jacqueline Areho Zawede, who is the representative of the UCA, to talk about this day, but also some cooperatives at large. Hello, good morning. Thank you for the program. Watching you live from Arua City, Herbert Afayo. And you say, I love the program and the conversation you're having, so enriching intellectually. I would say cooperatives are game changers. They empower communities, promote economic democracy, and foster social responsibility by prioritizing member benefits over profit scopes, and can drive positive change and build more equitable societies. Happy International Day of Cooperatives. Thank you, Herbert, for being on the show. Afande, the cancer of frauds as the major obstacle to the organic growth of cooperatives has been underlooked. We need to involve the experts in this area. I would like to engage your office for this. Odeke Julius, Manager Operations and Trainings at Investing Financials Uganda. Good morning, I'm Ibra from Naminya Jinja. For real, thank you for the good ideas. Afande, we are ever on UBC TV. Good morning, I'm Jadribo Luwai, messaging you from Yumbe District. This program is very good and it's the only way to monetize the economy. But other ways can be employed to ensure that the message reaches the majority of Ugandans in the country. And through more emphasis on the leadership of cooperatives that mostly have personal economic interests than serving the interest of the union. I mean, throw more light on the leadership. I wonder what leadership he means here. I don't know if it's of the UCA or on government side.
No, I think if I were to get that right, he meant the leadership within the circles themselves.
Okay.
You know, there are challenges there.
Right.
And we've always been we've always been talking about this, that there are governance challenges in the leadership within the circles.
Right.
There's a lot of corruption.
True.
There's a lot of embezzlement of money. You have brought your money to be kept, instead the leadership decides to go and run away with it.
Yeah.
But now, UCA now comes in, because our mandate is also to alleviate those kinds of disputes. If there is any kind of dispute, there is actually a law that tells you the trends where you have to go in order to reach us, in order to alleviate those kinds of disputes. Because it is a whole kind of legal system that we have to go through so that we can have solutions to those kinds of problems. But now the other time also, we were having a training in Chigezi. And they resolved that whenever we have this kind of challenges, especially among the leadership of the circles, let us sideline them. Let us blacklist them so that they do not appear anywhere, because for us, we want to transform our circle. We want to grow it. And then when you bring in the issues of corruption, the issues of embezzlement, we blacklist you. Now, you see, when you take a loan,
right,
and you do not pay back, there's the CB, is it called the CB what? That bank system that monitors the your financial, capability, whether you're able to
CRB.
The CRB, yes, whether you're able to get a loan or not. It will put a curtail on you in that you will not be able to get a loan elsewhere as long as you have a loan in this bank. You get it? And your financial status will be very black and very dirty.
Yes.
You will not be able to get any kind of loan. So that is the kind of blacklist we are talking about, that any kind of leadership, any kind of governance in a circle that has question marks on it, that is corrupt and, engaging in those kind of fraud kind of activities, we blacklist you as a corporate. Because for us, corporators, we are a union, we are corporators, we come together, we know each other. I know here Afande Alan, I know someone from Wazalendo, I know someone, we are together. So now, if Afande Alan, God forbid, is a leader of, let's say, Exodus, and now we get to hear that he has embezzled money, everyone will blacklist him. You might even be that he's very good guard of honor, might even be undressed from him, stripped off from him.
Yes.
That is the kind of, sideline and blacklist that we want, so that people now get the trust and confidence in joining circles.
All right, yes. Very profound indeed.
Maybe to add on that.
Yes, please.
If you go per law, 55L, Section 55L of the Cooperatives Act as amended 2020 says that each cooperative must engage an external auditor. Of course, 55I and K talk about audit committee and internal auditor. Those are internal within the circle.
Right.
However, let's say each cooperative, circles, whether produce cooperative or whatever, must have external audit. External people coming in to check. And these auditors do not come from the circle itself to choose, but there's a list of external auditors by the registrar of cooperatives, and I think they are also associated to UCA. So they are outsiders who come in and check your books to stem in any kind of corruption. So advise all cooperatives have engage services of external auditors. And if I give an example of Police Exodus Circle, our books have been audited and reports have been sent to the registrar. Registrar has powers of even removing the board. But if let's say there was engagement in fraud, by now we wouldn't be part of the board, because the registrar will make sure, and UCA, CPA, the General Secretary usually comes to our AGM. We submit all these books. This kind of openness is the one that helps Exodus Circle to stay afloat.
Right.
Otherwise, would have sunk. You would have heard that these billions were lost. But we are on a system, because when Afande Omoding was coming in, his was about transparency. Put the things there open. Let everybody read.
Access, yes.
And if you, maybe next year, through the chairman, I would say we invite you to attend our AGM. If you see the kind of the attention to details our members during the AGM, even a 5,000 shilling that is looking offside, they say, explain this.
Right.
And they do not leave. Sometimes we leave. We ask the registrar for extension of time, but we never leave the AGM until answering all questions, and our members go when they are satisfied. And also, there's somebody who said you put profits above. You see, once cooperatives must operate on a system of people, planet, and then profits. You have to think about the people first,
right?
Then think about the community, the environment, and then now that is when you can begin talking about profits. Because without the first two, you are basically not doing anything. I think the principle is, I can say it's akin to Ubuntu. Because Ubuntu says people first. When you get in my local language, they say gira Ubuntu, ugire abantu, abantu baguhe ibintu. That
if you're
be
for
with
people,
yes,
they will be for you,
they,
and
they will give you
yes,
things.
yeah.
So you just have to be open, be humane, and follow the principles of cooperatives.
Right.
And the principles of cooperatives in the schedule, in the third schedule of the Act, they are clearly well laid down, and you must work in the interest of the people at whatever you do,
right,
in good faith.
Right. Thank you, Afande, and thank you so much for being on the show. We bring this to a close, but let me read these comments as we start to close. Now, somebody, you did not leave your name first and foremost, but you sent your video of planting a tree to us. The number is not, we are not the ones who received this video. It's UCA that's supposed to receive that video. Jacqueline, please read that number again.
The number is 0776 31 2250.
Right.
Yes.
Please send the video to that number. You've planted a mango seed for a mango tree. Send the video to UCA so that you stand a chance to win your big prize. I'm Kimaleni Michael, listening from Bududa District. Thank you for the show, for the program. It's nice, but UCA, please also do not educate Ugandans on just TV. Not everyone accesses TV. Please take the program to radios as well. The message has been delivered, and that brings us to the end of today's conversation on cooperatives, as we always do every Wednesday. Next Wednesday is another day of cooperatives. Looking forward to learning more and engaging more. So save the number so that you are always able to interact to any show that airs on UBC TV. 0709-602-592. For now, it's a good morning. Enjoy the rest of the day. GMU Express is up next.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000, or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100*21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information.